Hey everyone, my name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you guys are having a great day no matter where you are from, because we just had a lot of news come out for the world of cryptocurrency, and the most important of which has to do with Shima Capital raising $200 million in their new fund. Now, this is going to be a Web3 focused fund, which has been a reoccurring theme this year from large institutional investors. It's very clear that big money is focused on developing the Web3 space and investing as much as they can into it on the dip. But we're going to be breaking down exactly where inside of Web3 Shima Capital is looking to invest in, as well as diving into a lot of the other news, because it looks like there are more cryptocurrency layoffs coming for Genesis and potentially Crypto.com. But the US Fed has opened the door for banks to enter into cryptocurrency, and more specifically, crypto banks to enter into the traditional banking system. So some positive news of adoption that I don't think anyone was expected has arrived on our doorstep. And of course, I want to break down what's happening on the price chart of Bitcoin, because there's always so much happening on here that is going to be good to talk about. So if that sounds interesting at all, make sure you stick around for the entire length of this video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. So the first thing I want to do here is tackle exactly where Shima Capital plans to invest their newly raised $200 million for Web3 development, because the term Web3 is kind of an all-encompassing phrase that can bunch together a bunch of different industries inside of the world of cryptocurrency. But if we scroll down, luckily they tell us exactly what they are interested in. So specifically, they want to target Web3 based social media, gaming, and the next generation of blockchain technology like ZK rollups. Now, their main purpose here is to address the Ethereum transaction issues and the Ethereum gas fee issues, meaning that transactions are moving slower than everyone wants them to be on Ethereum, and gas fees are higher than everyone wants them to be. Now, contrary to popular belief, Ethereum 2.0 will not solve this issue right off the bat. Ethereum's come out and said that around 2 years down the road, they are looking to implement ZK rollups or zero knowledge rollups like they talk about in this article. But until that happens, there's still going to be a very high demand for layer 2 solutions like ZK rollups. And so it looks like Shima Capital's big purpose here, or their big goal, is to really kind of capitalize on that opportunity while it exists, while also investing in the form of decentralized social media and decentralized gaming, which would also most likely include NFTs as well, because you can't really have decentralized social media or decentralized gaming without having NFTs involved with both of those. I think not having NFTs involved with both of those would be a little bit weird, because from what we have seen so far in both of those spaces, NFTs have been a big part of kind of making both of those categories, both of those industries, a lot more decentralized. Now, if we go ahead and talk about what's happening on the Bitcoin chart over here before we get back into the news, the big thing is that we are still in the middle of this channel. We're right now, at the time of making this video, right on the 20-day moving average, and we can see that the 50-day moving average is right below us. In fact, if we want to drop down to that 50-day moving average, that would be about a 5% drop back towards the downside. So if we want to retest that 50-day moving average from the 20-day moving average that we're sitting at right now, Bitcoin would have to drop roughly another about 5.5% to reach that point. And that would put us back towards support and back towards the bottom of this channel. The big thing that happened since our last video was a rejection from the Terra Luna /UST bottom that we saw back in May of this year. And so we can see that when we bottomed around $25,500, this was actually the top. And so what we're seeing is that previous support has now turned into resistance. And this is one of the big important areas that Bitcoin needed to conquer, because you can't really say that there's any kind of macro trend reversal until something conquers its previous consolidation zones and ultimately forms a higher swing high in the large scale, meaning that this is the previous swing high for Bitcoin. And until Bitcoin is able to break above this zone, everything below here is just lower swing highs in the bigger picture of everything. So the really big important zones for Bitcoin to conquer as we are moving into the last quarter of this year is going to be around that $30,000 area. And so what I'm watching for specifically is how are we reacting to both of these levels, both the consolidation bottom up here around 28,500 and the Terra Luna UST bottom, which is around $25,500. So both of these are going to be crucial levels. It's going to be very important to keep an eye on both of these. And if you want to get all my technical analysis in more detail and early access to it, consider joining Crypt Nation, which there is a link to that in the description down below. But let's get back into what's happening over here on the news, because the US Fed has opened the door for crypto banks to enter into traditional banking. This came, I think, to a lot of people's surprise. I think a lot of us knew that this was just a matter of time. It was just kind of out of left field that this would come out right now. But on the contrary, EU lawmakers seek to cap banks' Bitcoin holdings in almost the exact opposite light of what the US is doing. Now, is that the reason that the euro is going down right now? No. There's a lot of macroeconomic conditions that's causing the euro to move down. But I do think they're shooting themselves in the foot by not getting with it. And I think that this is going to continue to be a reoccurring trend in that the nations who don't want to be progressive about the technology boom and the industrial boom that we're seeing right now are going to be the ones who get left behind, and they're going to be the ones who get burned. So it's not to say that they are going to become this first world nation, a third world nation, but the people who don't latch on to this, the people who don't get on this train, they're going to be left behind. They're going to get burned, and they're going to regret it. That's why we're seeing so many big tech companies and Fortune 500 companies and institutional investors and hedge funds get into cryptocurrency while it's at a discount. They're not doing things like this and putting negative holdings on banks, right? It's just not happening. Big money is not doing this. It's weird to see nations wanting to move in oppose of big money, institutional money, but at the end of the day, they're just going to be burning themselves out. Now, on a little bit of bad news, Genesis CEO has stepped down after the platform has slashed 20% of its workforce, meaning that they just cut their company by roughly 20%. And I guess to show the empathy of the company, usually what happens is kind of like the CEO or a major leader of the company comes out and says, hey, unfortunately, we have to let all these people go. And there's a lot of backlash. So I think what Genesis was trying to do here is be a little bit more empathetic about it and say that, hey, we got to let go of a bunch of people, and we're also letting go of the CEO as well. So I imagine that the way that this went is that this was announced maybe by the CEO or by leadership, and he is leading by example by stepping down as well and not kind of just saying, I'm above everyone else. So, whether this works or not is kind of irrelevant. The big thing here is that crypto exchanges, especially centralized ones, are seeing people getting laid off. And the kind of shocking news is that earlier this year, Crypto.com let go about 5% of its workforce, which was roughly 260 employees, which isn't a massive cut. 5% isn't anything insane. It's not 20% like Genesis is seeing. However, they did say that this was the end of their layoffs, and now sources are citing that there are more layoffs to come and that the company was not being honest about their financial situation. So this could be a bad sign for Crypto.com, not only bad publicity, but also a reflection of what maybe is happening internally. Because it's not something that you ever want to go back on. If you come out publicly and say, this is the last of our layoffs, and then continue to do more layoffs 2 months later, not even 2 months later, it's not a good look from public perception, and it also gives everyone a little bit of insight as to what is happening internally. So we'll have to wait and see what happens over here with Crypto.com. None of this has been confirmed yet for Crypto.com. It's all speculation. I want to make sure that that is abundantly clear. But with every form of negative news, there's twice as much positive news. Again, we're seeing that from what the US is doing, leading by example and allowing crypto banks to enter into the traditional system, and also with hundreds of millions of dollars continuing to pour into the world of cryptocurrency. We're seeing nice consolidation. We're not in a free fall anymore. And crypto looks like it's stabilizing, and so do the traditional markets. Now, it's not sure where we want to go from here, but things are stable at the moment, and there is still a lot of really positive news coming in. So make sure everyone is aware, hopefully everyone was able to find a little bit of enjoyment and learn something from everything that we talked about here today. If you're new to the channel and you like what I have to talk about, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. You don't have to, but if you were needed a reminder, there it is for you. But again, I appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you so much for watching these videos, guys. I truly do love making them, and I love getting to interact with everyone that enjoys them as well. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you all in Friday's video.